Hey guys, I'm just gonna read. Basically, I'm gonna read the post I just wrote because I realized I missed writing and was tired of seeing my face. But I'll read some excerpts of it, so it's available in two forms. Some quick thoughts. First off, essential reading um, regarding the meaning and fate and challenges of liberalism. Is liberalism worth saving? It's a colloquium, Platonic dialogue, roundtable discussion, mouth moving festival, sound making festival. Um, it's been transcribed in um, in Harper's February edition. So just Google "Fate of Liberalism." Is liberalism worth saving? Harper's, and it's a really interesting roundtable at a kind of conceptual level about the meaning, limits, contradictions, inherent internal tensions of liberalism as conceived in accordance with and in fundamental constitutional tension with the concept of democracy, the concept of free markets, the way they overlap, necessarily the way they do not, depending on what definitions one embraces, what one sees as the constitutive tensions, and in some cases dooming contradictions. But it's interesting. There's a range of people. What I found most interesting is um, uh, I didn't know that Francis Fukuyama had kind of moved from neocon poster boy to kind of a little bit more liberal and inclusive in his recognitions and um, orientations of certain issues. I mean, he's certainly no progressive thinker, but that was interesting to me that he's kind of moved past the end of history modality. Cornel West is a great force, of course, and just listening to him embrace everyone as in his discursive mode as my dear brother so and so, my dear sister so and so, and even in the case of a transgendered theoretician whom I was not familiar with, who's actually the most right wing of them, um, most Milton Friedman compatible of them. I didn't catch him. I think he referred to her as my dear sister, but it occurred to me that he would be a great force as a discursive moderator general for the entire culture, just to embrace everyone, regardless of how decent or despicable they might appear, in that universal Jesus like Christian embrace. But it struck me as interesting that he might even have in his rhetorical spiritual arsenal something like our dear sibling for people who identify gender wise as they. It's not sister or brother in any simple way. So that would be an interesting moment. But I really think he's. Oh, I just realized I scratched my nose, and a friend made a great suggestion that I lack the technology to implement right now, or the know how, but maybe someone could help me to embed on my screen a nose rub counter for interactive engagement or whatever. It's just for some reason it's just there's something in the air that's itchy here. Um, I wasn't doing that when I was just over in the New York Historical Society, where they do let me in now again. I guess maybe I'm dressing in disguise. Maybe the mask helps. I said I was going to read this stuff. So that's essential reading. Um, Opposite to Brother Cornell. Tennessee, amazing. Just seems like a recrudescence of all the issues from the 1960s. It feels like nothing has changed from Martin Luther King's time. So, like 1963, fast forward to 2023, the tone, content of not just the color of their skin, these expelled black, egregiously, ridiculously expelled black representatives who were standing up for the rights of the killed children and against the gun industry and so forth. They were ostracized, expelled, excommunicated, whatever the word is, in egregiously racist fashion. And all of their speeches really just sound like we're back in 1963. Even the imagery and their clothing and their rhetorical style, and the color of their skin and the content of their character and the content and style of their rhetoric, and it is a striking recapitulation of a historical moment. And it goes back to a lot of the things I've been talking about a lot in terms of the way the issues that got suppressed at the end of the civil rights era and the Vietnam era and never resolved the socio-political, social compact issues, and got kind of repressed in the move from Carter to Reagan, and then once again bubbled forth, and then got repressed in the move from from Gore, that vital thing, are all resurfacing. It's just the return of the repressed, and it does feel like there's some substantial reckoning afoot, or a great transformation, or who knows, something is afoot. There's something vital and dynamic, and the Republicans are doing a remarkable job of just dooming themselves electorally by alienating / radicalizing the young population, radicalizing them to just fundamental decency and a sense of enlightened self-interest, like gun control and abortion rights are basically just alienated. It feels like if there's going to be any semblance of legitimate elections in the future, even with maximal gerrymandering and manipulations and electoral interference, and it just seems like they're dooming themselves because they're just alienating in urgent ways core constituencies or core demographics, vital demographics, and basically the young and the women should be decisive. Like I don't know, I'm no optimist, but that's what it seems like. It seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot and aborting themselves, if you will, with the relevant metaphors. Okay, so that's kind of reading it. I don't. Distillation of the GOP MAGA strategy in terms of every moment, everything where they do precisely the wrong thing and double down on it really egregiously. It's really just, let's find a victim to gang up on, all while claiming that we're the real victim. That's their mode. Just find me a counter instance. I'm open to it. My attempt to keep the flickering zombie spirit of truth alive on Twitter in my very occasional involvements was just to write a thing that says, please report any unauthorized acts of intellectual good faith you may witness. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. Good faith alert hotline, the authorities, what have you. And it just seems like maybe that should become a cultural thing. In addition to embracing Cornel West as the moderator general for the world, just introducing everyone under that inclusive mantle, regardless of anything. But that idea of an ironic proscription against and warning against by the authorities anything like intellectual good faith. And if you see something, say something, reporting authority structure for any act of actual intellectual good faith in the discourse. And it just doesn't exist. Like, I was completely disheartened by seeing the gotcha interview with the Maimon Hassan guy. I don't know his name, but I saw little clips of it, like it's supposed to be this great gotcha moment with Matt Taibbi, as if it gets anything substantial, and it's all kind of like missing the bigger intellectual honesty of the fact that there's a grain of truth in what everyone is saying, and there's something. His critique of Matt Taibbi was very unsophisticated and very uninteresting, and it almost legitimized Matt Taibbi and made him seem more sympathetic than one would otherwise think. The MSNBC is awful. CNN is awful. They're just blind to some of the structural truths that they're complicit in, even though, of course, my sympathies are deeply progressive and left-leaning. I'm just like intellectually incapable of self-dishonesty about these things. Like that was a bad gotcha, substituting the particular for the meretricious for the substantial in all kinds of ways. So anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I'll just kind of give you a couple of funny other things. Central Park 5 got the memo, which is cool. They took out a full-page ad and did the reverse Trump karma thing. That's awesome. Beneath contempt and mention Clarence Thomas, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, nothing to say. Impeach him, make him resign, have lion protests in front of his place or whatever. Just harass him like the Furies, like Orestes. But politely and discreetly. What else? And of course, like the immortal bad faith of the debate. I made the mistake of reading the front page of the Times, which I almost never do, and I'm reading like there's some big debate about like what's more responsible for the perils of inflation, wage hikes or price increases, and just prima facie a priori, it's just so obvious that of course the asymmetrical responsibility is always on the side of corporate greed and the moneyed classes and the compulsion to compensate for higher wages by raising prices plus some to get the vital incremental benefit for shareholders and for their capital accumulation and profit maximization and whatever. And of course it's always asymmetrically the responsibilities asymmetrically on the side of capital and management and money and the Davos class and the chattering classes and the moated elites and so, and it's just nauseating. But anyhow, I won't become an enemy to my class at the moment. Trans envy, I think the Republicans have it. I think they have this idea. They have an envy of someone that knows who they are and want to be and can achieve that through an actual procedure or operation, because they desperately want to be other from the way they are, whether it's funnier, more popular, more likable, more alive, more whatever. But there seems to be no simple recourse for that, simple mechanism. So in some way they just hate these people that deeply know and want that they want to be some other way that's achievable, and that's galling to them at some ultimate level. There are other issues, of course, in terms of the binary structure of thought and identity. I get it. It is a problematic frontier. I'm not minimizing it. I'm on the fence in terms of, like whether these transgendered athletes should compete with the same. I mean, there probably should be a third class of competition. Okay. Chest pains. I hope they hold out till the cardiology follow up next week. Media malpractice, journalistic visa collaboration is a madness, Leslie Riefenstahl, the austerity of matzah suits me. I'm loving the matzah, even though I had halal for Passover. And I'll just say one, here I go again, okay. I had a good moment vis-a-vis a guy walking. I was walking down the street the other day, and I was wearing 2 masks. I was heading to something I was going to be indoors for a long time in a small, crowded room, and I was wearing them lest I lose track of where they were. I just had them on my face. Some guy snarkily says to me, 2 masks, huh? 2 masks, yeah? 2 masks. You need 2 masks. So I calmly took a moment and said, okay, this is an opportunity. Let's not get defensive or condescending or combative, but let's have a genuine confrontation. So I walked back slowly to him and I said, listen, this society is making all of us really callous and stupid, and it's kind of normalizing instantly and ungenerously and openly and volubly judging others, right? And actually, I'm going to just this seems to have stopped, so I'm going to do another one. I'm going to save this, then I'm going to do another one. This seems to have stopped, but I do want to share that anecdote. So hold on, 1 sec. Okay, there's the good luck. 14 minutes, 2 times 7, very good numbers. Hold on.